So, Lee,
Mm.
what are some of the key factors in a thriving marriage?
Oh, Jesus, communication, and lots of sex.
Stay tuned.
This is the Unexpected Podcast.
All right, Ames. Today is a long one.
A long one.
Yeah, it is something that we don't talk about much, and that is a three-letter word called sex.
And I assume we're talking about within
inside of marriage, in the confines of marriage. Yes. How do we keep our marriage together? We've been married 26 years, right?
Right.
Wow, got that one right. Whew. First question's all
26 and a half.
26 and a half.
Yep.
Yeah, something like that. Well, right now, some good news.
Mhm.
I'll start off with some good news.
Okay.
The divorce rate is going down, according to divorce.com
Mm-hmm.
and the census, census.gov.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
And so you're talking about within the United States.
Within the United
Mhm.
States, across the board,
Mhm.
it has gone down from. I'm looking at my notes right now. It has gone down from 3.6 per 1,000 people
Mm-hmm.
to 2.4 per 1,000 people.
Okay.
That's great. That's
fine.
That's between 2011 and 2022.
Okay.
So, we are trying to understand still at 26 years
Mhm.
how to live with each other.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about the two of us. Absolutely.
Us, yeah.
Absolutely. It's
See, this is not.
ongoing.
We're not going to claim to have everything figured out
Mm-mm.
in this episode,
right.
but we are going to talk about marriage and sex.
Right.
I mean, it is something that the church doesn't talk about very much.
Right.
I haven't heard very many
Mhm.
messages on it,
Mhm.
but we did discuss this beforehand. That's something abnormal, so that was unexpected,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Usually it's a surprise topic
right?
that one of us is presenting.
But we
we
figured,
agreed this will be a good topic.
yeah, this one is probably a vital thing of survival.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
to preserve our way of life and the culture in which we live, you
Right.
have to procreate. I'm not
Right.
just talking about that. I'm talking about keep your marriage together.
Right. Well, yeah. So let's be
There's-
specific. You're
there's
talking
very-
about
Yes.
our way of life. You're talking about Western civilization
Yeah.
as well as Judeo-Christian
Mm-hmm. Beliefs.
beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and to be a thriving society, no matter what part of the world you're in,
Or
you
religion
have
or
to
whatever.
have exactly. You have to have strong marriages and then strong families
Yes.
in order to thrive and survive,
Absolutely.
and ultimately survive.
Yes.
So it's very important.
People, some people can't have kids and they want kids, and some people can have kids and don't want kids. So
Mhm.
I think it's very important that we address as much as we can within the. We do have some time constraints based on our filming and
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
but for the most part, we're going
Yeah.
to try to systematically go through the statistics, maybe, and
Whatever you say.
And-
I mean,
and
we're
what-
still always off the cuff here, but listen.
yes,
If I could, let's start with a disclaimer. And that is, and we've said this many times on this podcast, we might make generalized statements, but we also don't subscribe to a one-size-fits-all.
No,
You know,
not at
everybody
all.
is called to a different
Right.
type of life.
Yeah.
And, we believe all people are called to turn to the Lord Jesus Christ. So that's ultimately our heart for, seeing people turn to his kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
But within his kingdom, everybody has their walk with God. So we're not going to say that we have all the answers, nor do we think that everyone has to follow exactly anything that we might suggest. However, there are patterns, there are scriptural truths, there are statistics that speak volumes. So we're kind of coming at it from that perspective.
Right.
Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say. Well, let's start off with the marriage. So the marriage rate in the U.S. rose to 6.2 in two in 2022. That's per 1,000
Okay.
people. So despite having declined for many years prior. So we had a decline, and then people were like, oh, this ain't working.
Mm-hmm.
So some people are waking up, and I think it's a very important point to make. In 2022, there were 2,065,905 registered marriages.
Okay.
All right. So in 2022, 67.85 million men and 68.45 million women were married in the U.S. So
Okay.
they're trying to bring some light to this, and this is coming from divorce.com actually.
But it pulls government statistics.
Government statistics, and now I want to make sure that we are not just flying from our own opinion, but from research, which I believe everybody should do research if they have a subject and want to know the facts. Don't listen to social media all the time.
Right.
Don't just take our word for it. Go search. Go research your own stuff.
So to your point here, you're saying there's an increase in people getting married. But now what's important now is to talk about how do you maintain a marriage? How do you stay married? How do you stay thriving within your marriage and not just surviving?
Right.
Because if you're thriving, ultimately, you're going to get through even the very hard seasons because you're going to have very difficult seasons.
Oh, yeah, that's inevitable.
Financially, health-wise, just, life happens.
Yeah. You're going to get frustrated with your spouse.
Right.
You're going to get upset with them. It happens.
Is this a good time to look at the duration of marriages? Because, or do you have something else?
Yeah, I got one other thing that I want to talk about.
Sure.
There is a falsity, and I want to nip this in the bud. There is no statistical data that I found, nor the sites that we looked at, and the sources that we've cited. None of them have verified that there are 50% of all marriages end in divorce. None of them verify that. That is not a real statistic. So what the false narrative of marriage is, and I think it's to scare people from the young people from getting married. Okay, this is a falsehood right here. 50% of first marriages end in divorce. 67% of second marriages end in divorce. 73% of third marriages end in divorce. This is a myth.
Okay, but would you say though that the fact that there's an increase with each marriage in the percentage of them failing is probably true? We don't know the exact statistics, right?
No, we don't know. We don't know those percentages
but those patterns are.
The patterns are likely.
Okay.
Yes, the patterns are likely, but the percentage in which they happen are not likely. I think there's some myth in that.
Right, because it's hard to get that kind of generalized data. Now, some other areas where we're going to talk, it's easier to get because if you're talking about the length that marriages last, then that's more accurate because you're actually dealing with a pool of the society that has gotten divorced. So then you're looking at, well, how long did those marriages last on average?
Right.
Okay.
Yep. So go ahead and with what you were talking about. I just wanted to add that in.
Yeah, to me this is interesting and also important because according to some of the statistics we found, the average first marriage that does end in divorce, again, we don't know that exact number, but the ones that do end in divorce last about 8 years.
Yes.
Remember, I was quizzing you on that, and you guessed it.
Yep.
So why is that important? Well, it leads to other questions. Why do things start to break down after 8 years?
Absolutely.
Why is that kind of an average? And I have some thoughts on it, but I'm sure you do too.
Yeah, some of the lists and some of the research that I did, I wanted to make sure before I came on and said this stuff that I actually did the research and looked at it. And according to Stanford University, almost 69% of all the divorces are by women, initiated by women.
Okay.
All right. So, and it says the main reasons why women initiate divorce are these. unmet needs, deficient life-work balance, husband's unfaithfulness, alcohol addiction, physical and emotional violence, better support system, fewer regrets. This is why the rate of divorce for women.
Women initiating
it.
Okay.
Yes.
And there's those, obviously, those are very understandable, those abusive situations, infidelity.
Absolutely. Yes.
So-
there are reasons
that's
for
going
that
to
divorce.
encompass
Yes. We're not
a
going to say
lot of
that,
that.
all divorce is wrong.
Right.
Even the Bible says, give them a certificate of divorce if they are unfaithful. And I will add that if that is abusive, there are, things.
Right.
But sometimes I've noticed that people say that it's abusive, men and women. They say that the spouse is being abusive because they just disagreed.
Right. Go back to that number one. Was it unmet needs?
Unmet needs.
See, so that's very subjective. There could
Absolutely.
be legitimate unmet needs.
Yeah, put in a room and not fed.
Right. But then there can be perceptive
Oh,
unmet
yes.
needs. Like I don't.
The delusions of grandeur.
Right.
Yes.
Like this isn't what I signed up for. I thought life would be much different than this. When
men are like, I thought I was going to be able to get a boat. I thought I was going to be able to get what I want.
Exactly.
What about me? What about me?
Right,
what about
right,
me?
Right. And same with women, wanting to live a more lavish lifestyle perhaps than what is available, or having some kind of perception of still being able to live like you did when you were single. I think that's a big one.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, well, I got to have my time, me time. And again, there is a time for that.
Absolutely.
But it can get way out of hand real fast.
Yeah.
To where you think, that it's all about what I want.
Yeah.
I think you can address that pretty well, too. What is it you always say about marriage is not 50-50?
It's not 50-50. Marriage is not 50-50. It is 100%, 100%. You put in 100% and she puts in 100%, then your marriage is going to approach that 100% mark of staying stable.
Yeah.
Because just because I don't get what I want doesn't mean that she's insufficient.
Right.
It means that I may have my expectations too high.
Yes.
Not as a put down to you, but as a, practical, logical life. If you're making $60,000 a year, but you want to live $100,000 life, that ain't going to jive.
Exactly. And that's a big contention in marriages, obviously.
Absolutely.
It's the financial component.
Yes.
Learning to live within your means is huge,
And learning to live your life in marriage outside of money.
Right. Yeah.
Money is a factor of divorce. Divorce rate.
Well, and even the book of Ephesians, just as a follower of Christ, it says, Paul said, I know both how to be abased and how to abound. Meaning there's going to be seasons where you're doing pretty well. And we're thankful for those times where, things are going well. And then you're going to have times where it's very difficult. It's a struggle. I don't care how much money you make. Different people face different things. There's always going to be a stress. I don't care how much money you make.
Right.
You can let money take you down and rule you, and there can be problems.
Yeah,
yeah.
And we're going to highlight, and then we'll come back to different subjects as we go. But denying each other sex.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about that.
Right.
Because I've seen it be very prominent in the church, and I've had people in the past 30 years approach me and say, my wife won't have sex with me. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is, are you working? Are you doing things that are making her not want you? Then the second thing I ask is she being vindictive? Is she trying to be controlling?
Right. So it can be a lot of those factors. And
many factors.
I know earlier you and I were discussing, one of the pages that you were looking at with some really good statistics that was also emphasizing the things that make marriages work. And one was prioritizing each other.
Yes.
So that encompasses a lot. But that's where this idea of the sex life comes into play, because prioritizing the needs of another person.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, when you become one, because the Bible says when you marry, you become one. When you're prioritizing the other person, you're actually prioritizing yourself in a sense, but it should be done in the heart of, I love this person, I want to prioritize them, but also knowing this is going to be good for both of us.
Absolutely.
Prioritizing the other is good for the whole, for the one.
So we just went through a little highlight of what we want to talk about today. It's going to go a little bit long today, I feel like, but I think it's worth it. I think we need to unpack a few things. And so let's go back to getting married early versus getting married late in life. So some people say, yeah, you should have all your stuff in order. You should go to college and get that done. And you do this and do that before you get married. That may work for some people. I'm not sure. I didn't find much on that except for people saying get married later.
But the statistics contradict. There's different schools of thought and different stats. But go ahead.
I got married when I was 21. You were a little older.
Yes.
I'm not going to say that.
But significantly.
But significantly older.
A little bit, yeah.
I liked it. It's good. Older women, hey.
Okay.
You trained me up the way I should go. That's a joke. Kind of. So understanding the age dynamic of getting married is a hard one to deal with.
Okay.
I love them. And that's 15-year-old.
Yeah.
I love them. They're going to do this. They're, they this. Yeah. And yes, I do think that love can happen early. Is it good? Probably not, because you're still in the adolescent age and you still have not matured brain-wise. Your brain doesn't mature until 25. So I got married when I was a little less mature than what I needed to be. Recommendation that I make, 20 to 28, get married. Somewhere in there.
Yeah. Well,
and grow together.
Yes. And there are some people who have cited statistics that, as long as you're not still high school age, but if you're in your early 20s, there are some stats out there that have shown those marriages are more likely to last rather than the ones who come in, say, late 20s, early 30s, or even later. Because if you think about it, you're more set in your ways and you're carrying a lot of baggage, perhaps. And we know people, and we've heard people talk about their experience that when they got married a little bit younger, maybe everything wasn't in order, but they grew up together. And sometimes those marriages are some of the most solid.
Right.
So we know some people like that got married at 19, 20, 21.
Yes.
And who have thrived.
Yeah. And the side, it says that, 63% of women are the ones that initiate the divorce. 63% of divorces are initiated by women. Why? Women are, you can speak on this. Tell me if I'm wrong. Listen, don't get the hate mail, but based on what I've researched, women are more emotional and ruled more by their emotions than men. Men are more logical. They want a systematic approach to life and different things. This is a broad statement, but
very broad.
Statistics are leaning in that direction. So what can you say?
Okay, well, I have another thought on that too, because I think this can come into play, is that sometimes, not always, because we don't want to overgeneralize. Sometimes men are more passive, and they're just like sitting back, oblivious. I'm not saying always, but they can be sitting back oblivious and not realizing how discontented the woman is.
There's no argument here.
Or maybe they know, things aren't so good, but I'm not going to get up and do anything about it. So that can be a factor.
So Mark Gungor, if you haven't look up Mark Gungor and some of his marriage stuff. It's really good.
It's funny and good.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he was talking about, men's brains are compartmentalized, meaning these boxes are in certain areas of the brain, and within those boxes are certain subjects. And those subjects in those boxes don't touch the other boxes. And we have a special box called the nothing box, which the nothing box is our favorite box because there's no stress. There's nothing in there.
No thoughts.
With no thoughts. There's no thoughts in that little nothing box. So we sit and we can glare at fire and zone out. And women come up and say, this is according to Mark Gungor,
What are you
thinking about? Nothing. And then the woman says,
That's impossible.
so how is it that we are not dependent on each other? We have to. The two become one. You're everything I'm not, and I'm everything you're not. And some things they cross over where we are we're compatible to an extent like that. But Mark says what? What does he say about the woman brain? Do you remember?
Oh, that it's like a bunch of wires that are all interconnected, and the thoughts just go all over the place.
Right.
He said something like that.
So he said, if you ask a man, what'd you do today? Well, I went to work. What'd you do? Well, I fixed a few things.
No details.
No details. So came home, sat down. You ask a woman, what'd you do today? She said, well, I left the house this morning and then I drove down the road. Did you know the Joneses have new flowers in their front yard? Oh, and then I got to the gas station. I started to fill up and I realized I left my purse in the car because I needed to get it out so I can go and get my breakfast for the day. But I realized, I forgot that I've got this and this and this in the car.
We have to get our words out.
Yes.
That's the point.
And it goes even further. The excruciating detail that has to be explained by a woman because it's all connected emotionally. Because and men, you have to understand that the woman has to get her words out. Men, she is trying to communicate with you, even though your eyes glass over and your detailed thought is not there. She remembers it because it meant a lot to her. It is an emotional thing for her.
She just needs a little bit of acknowledgement.
She don't need you to fix it.
Right.
She just needs you to listen. Am I right?
Exactly.
Okay. Did I pass on that one?
You did. Throw in a few, really? Yes.
Acknowledge.
Yeah.
And
that's just something that we need to do better in our society anyway.
We need to do that better in our marriage because sometimes I just go,
Well, and we're kind of the exception. And we have another male friend who is very detail oriented. And sometimes you go into a lot of detail.
Yes, I do.
And so I kind of
only
understand.
on things I'm passionate about because of emotion.
Exactly. And I understand the other perspective is like, okay, yes,
That's a good job.
And we both, have our areas where we want to tell all the details.
Absolutely. And I think that's important in a marriage is to be able to understand what your spouse needs. And the needs and understanding the spouse's brain.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Some guys are going, dear God, no, I don't want that task. But women are going, I want to know what he's thinking. Well, ladies, most of the time, the men aren't.
Yeah.
That's we're
really
not.
hard for us to comprehend because we just are constantly thinking about. I mean, my thoughts can go from this to this to this, like in 0.2 seconds.
And I'm trying to track just the first thought, and then I get lost.
Yeah. Well, hey, there's something we haven't talked about for a long time, but another really good resource is the 5 love languages.
Yes,
I think
that's a good
Gary
one.
Chapman. But to understand the love language of your spouse, because we're all different, so it's easy to assume that like. Acts of service is huge for me. Like I like for someone to do something for me. That makes me feel loved.
Yes.
But then I could jump into thinking, well, that's everybody's love language.
I like
but
to be
not.
touched.
I
Whenever I was little, and my mom will attest to this, I was on the kindergarten bus, and I just remember this girl, her name was Carmen, and she was older, but for some weird reason, she would rub my belly. And I loved it. It was weird. Okay. It was weird. It was a little weird now that I think about it. But she would rub my belly, and I liked it. I was like, "Oh, that feels so good." She would rub my belly, but she was older. But
she was like a big sister.
She was like a big sister kind of thing. And my mom knew her mom,
okay.
and I mean, it was a friend thing. It wasn't like weird or anything like that. But maybe it was a little weird. I don't know. All I know is I felt that compassion. I felt the love of it. I like hugs. I like affection. I am a PDA man. I just don't. I just like it. I like to hug. Some people are like, "Don't touch me."
Yeah.
Me, Hug me, man.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. Rub my belly. A little awkward
Yeah,
there.
and just as a side note, if you don't know that book and the love languages, I think acts of service is one. Gifts, like giving and receiving gifts, is one.
I do
physical
like to
touch.
give. I do like to give.
Yeah. Oh, words of affirmation. You like that one too.
I like that one too.
That's an important. I think we both like words of affirmation.
Right.
And
Compliment.
I can't think of the last one.
Compliment.
Yeah.
But yeah, look that up. I mean, it's really good. Mark Gungor.
good.
These are great resources for you if you're married or wanting to get married and wondering what to do.
Yeah.
So we kind of understand that we have to go into that way of thinking. What is it that I can do to bless my spouse? How is it that we think it's all about us? Why be selfish? Right? It's self-preservation for one.
We live in a selfish culture.
Right. It's self-preservation, and I understand that. It's like you've been hurt through life, whatever, but it's not your spouse's fault. Well, sometimes it might be. Right. But for the most part, don't blame your spouse for what other people have done.
That's a good way to put it.
So I think that what we're headed towards is this idea, and what's brewing in my head is I want to live a selfless life as you would too, but the counteracting part, the result of that is that your needs get met. It's the craziest sowing and reaping law that has been set in motion by the universe, and I don't care if you are a believer, non-believer, whatever. Reciprocity is real.
Yeah.
What you give is what you get.
Right. God designed it that way.
Absolutely.
That's the way the world works.
Right. So if I'm giving 100% of myself, it says in the Bible, husbands, love your wife like Christ loved the church. Wives, love your husbands. Right?
Well, and it specifically says honor, but it's so interesting that in the cultural context, when it says husbands, love your wives, that wasn't even in the ancient mind, really.
No.
Women were just regarded as property for the most part. And so this was really profound to say that. But likewise, wives should honor, because I think that's an important need for men to feel honored.
Feel honored, to feel respected, to feel wanted. I mean, to be wanted as a man, not by the law, by your wife.
Wanted.
But we take that for granted. The women take that for granted that men are just going to be there, but men are emotional too. We have that idea of, I want to be a provider. I want to help my wife. I want to do that. And if you're not a man that wants that, then you probably should start thinking about it and changing, because that is what it is to be a man. Right. Is to be able to compromise and say, you know what? I am going to be selfless. And when you're selfless, the reciprocity may not come immediately, but over time, you'll be known as faithful. You'll be known as righteous. Right. You'll be known as somebody who's dependable. And that, the reciprocity of that is going to be profound. So you will reap what you sow. So even if your spouse is not doing it, you keep going, because eventually she will either cave and come towards you because you are being loving. Now, there are times you have to go, look, enough is enough. I get that. Yeah. There is a time you can't be a pushover. Right. But you have to stand your ground. Yeah. On many things that are righteous and right. You have to stand,
but not in a tyrannical, oppressive
totalitarian. No, but in love.
And let me say this to women specifically. And I had to learn this the hard way, and maybe not the hard way, but I just had to learn it by observation, because, like you said, you were 21 when we got married. Yeah. And I've seen this in other relationships too. Men, women, I'm speaking to, you have to give men time to grow up. So, in other words, when you first marry him, he might not care a whole lot about the lawn or yard work like you think he should. But if he's doing the basics, he's probably going to advance into doing a better job later. And do you think that's true?
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
I've seen that over and over. Like, there is a standard by which men should live. They should be doing their part.
Right.
But they have to grow into it. Because, I mean, that's the thing. We're all growing. We're all still growing up, right?
Yes, exactly.
We're still growing up.
I think
Give some
you
grace.
were talking about honor.
Mm-hmm.
Honor the man you want.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
Who do you want him to become?
Oh, right. Honor him as though he is that person. Yeah.
It's the truth.
Right.
Men, honor your wife as though
Mhm.
she's the one you want.
Yeah. Love the one you're with.
Love the
Sorry.
one you're with.
Everything we do.
Everything's
there's
got a song.
Everything's got a song.
But the truth of the matter is, you get what you sow into.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
If I want to sow into my wife, I'm going to pay her compliments.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give her accolades. I'm going to celebrate her in a manner that is honoring.
Mm-hmm.
And the same way, the wife should
Mhm.
do that
Mm-hmm.
for the man.
And let me say this, because you're right about women being emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And women have, I have like a memory that never forgets anything.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do something like you really, really go out of your way to do something that is of benefit to me and maybe to both of us, like for instance, recently you did an overhaul on our pantry / storage room / laundry room. It's like
Mhm.
one big room.
Yep.
He did a major overhaul and made it so nice and organized. Well, I can go in that room and see that every day. I see the evidence and I'm reminded like, wow, he did this and this is amazing. So then if I go over here and something you do irritates me, then I can remember easily like, yeah, but he did this.
Yeah.
Look what he did.
Yeah.
So doing those acts of service really can go a long way.
Yep. Well, now let's talk about sex.
All right.
Let's get right to it. So, according to marriage.com, the summary says the summary of the article I put it. It says intimacy strengthens the bond of deepening trust and closeness, helping each partner feel seen and valued, and it grows with when both listen with care.
Mm.
All right. It says, and open communication matters about desires, boundaries, and rhythms, and aligning expectations, reigniting connections, and addressing friction before it creates distance. So basically, have a grievance table where you sit down and you air your grievances and you come to a compromise about things,
Mm-hmm.
especially sex.
Mm-hmm.
Because women, denying your man sex is a very prominent way to drive him away.
But now,
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
if you are a lazy bum, you do nothing, and all you do is complain about her or complain, and I've heard it. I've heard men talk about their wives and complain about it and do the man talk at work and all of this stuff. And she's this and she's that and all that. If that is how you perceive your wife, you probably should have a change of heart, and you wonder why you're not getting any. All right? So you need to take your mind and set it on something other than hating on your wife.
Mm-hmm.
Respect her. Start doing things for her. Now, you may do that. You just talking tough in front of the guys, but don't do that either, because that leads to something else. So
to be successful in marriage, you got to go against the grain of the culture.
You got to go against the grain. And if you're not getting sex, there's a reason behind it, and it could be you. Now, I'm not saying it is all the time, but sex is a very important part of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep a marriage together? And you can tell people that have sex all the time, they're always happy.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I spoke to the men.
Right. Right.
And to the best of my knowledge, we got a little bit more to go here.
Yeah.
I got one more statement here.
I'll say this for women. There are going to be times when that's not what you're in the mood for. But if you will make the effort, I think the more you make the effort, even when you're not in the mood, then the easier it is
Mm-hmm.
But the longer you prolong that, the harder it is to come back around.
Yeah.
And I know from experience that also, if you're extremely worn out and tired, and a lot of women are overworked and tired, so it does make it more difficult.
Yeah.
And that's why rest is a priority, because rest will actually enhance the sex life. But again, so it's several factors. Number one, you've just got to know it's a priority, because I also know
not an obligation.
No, not an obligation.
You can't
That's
look
good.
at it like an obligation.
It's a priority. It's going to be for his benefit and for your benefit. Emotionally, you're going to have less friction in your marriage when you're, sexually active. So that's going to enhance everything. You're going to feel more secure. It's so important. I had another thought, and what was it? It left me. But yeah, making that priority is, there's so many benefits to it. And the longer you prolong it, the more difficult it gets.
And the further you drift apart.
Yep. Yeah. And also, there are women who will, weaponize this. And again, going back to what you said, sometimes men aren't doing their very best. But then as a woman, you have to say, okay, but what can I do?
Right.
Am I doing my very best? Am I giving of myself? And here's another thing. This is the challenge within the church.
Yes.
Because we've talked about this before.
Yep.
Christians don't talk about sex very often. And so you feel like it's almost like this forbidden, taboo thing. And it almost seems like, people in the world are doing a better job and having a better time with this, but we're allowed to have a good time with this too.
Absolutely.
Right?
All right.
So that's the part that you have to push back against,
And
because the enemy will tell you, oh, well, you go through the motions, but you shouldn't have too much fun. And it's like, that's not true.
No. And so finally, you had a scripture.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That talks about this in Corinthians.
Absolutely.
So sex supports well-being. This is the research I've done, and just to bring it back to a scientific, we'll go spiritual here in just a second, a little more, but to bring it back to a scientific approach here, sex supports well-being by releasing feel-good hormones, easing stress, improving mood, and giving couples momentum to grow together with patience, tenderness, and love.
That's good. That's good.
You have to have that.
You do.
People want to know why they're all stressed out in their marriage.
Sometimes that's what it is.
Have sex.
Yeah. They don't realize that.
Get it on.
Because it's not always very clear.
Yeah.
That's the source of the stress, and that is the solution to the stress.
Right.
Until you.
So it folds in on itself because, I'm stressed, I can't have sex. No, you need to have sex because you're stressed.
Exactly. Very good point.
Yeah.
Where does this fall in Scripture? Well, this is a big one. 1 Corinthians 7, verses 3 through 5 say, the husband should fulfill his wife's sexual needs, and the wife should fulfill her husband's needs. The wife gives authority over her body to her husband, and the husband gives authority over his body to his wife. It's mutual, isn't it?
It is.
Okay. Do not deprive each other of sexual relations unless you both agree to refrain from sexual intimacy for a limited time, so you can give yourselves more completely to prayer. So there's going to be a season where maybe you're doing that. Yeah. Afterward, you should come together again so that Satan won't be able to tempt you because of your lack of self-control.
Well, one of the things that caused divorce was what? Infidelity.
Oh, yeah.
Going out and sleeping around. Well, why did the man go out and sleep around? Well, two things. Either he's a complete whoremonger or he's not getting it at home.
Yeah, which is not an excuse.
Not an excuse.
It can be a causal effect.
It can it's a cause and effect. Why do women? Well, maybe the husband ain't giving what he needs to give at home. This is broad. We're not. There are specific things that happen that yes, get away from that. But there is nothing that says go sleep around on your spouse.
No,
that is not the way to do it.
Well, and I think we haven't addressed this very much, but it's a huge factor, and that is the media that we're surrounded by every day, entertainment. everything that we feed on is kind of feeds into this idea of, looking at people that aren't your spouse and wanting this and wanting that. And, you really just have to, realize like, okay, I don't live according to what the rest of society is doing.
We're not called to that, because that is unhealthy. Right. It is not a good way to live. Come back to the marriage bed and be together and be intimate, because it is vital.
Yeah, it is.
To the marriage.
It is.
If you take sex out of the marriage, all you are is a roommate.
Right. Who needs that?
So Christians, I'm mainly talking to Christians. I'm talking to those who are, it's a bad thing. Sex is good. We don't talk about it enough. Sex is for two things. And it says it right here in Corinthians. It talks about it. Sex, for one, is to procreate.
Yeah.
Go forth, be fruitful.
Yeah.
Multiply. Have kids. Many kids. As many as you can. All right? Many as God allows. Go out. Go into the marriage bed. Get together. Be intimate.
Right.
And have fun with it.
Right.
Enjoy it.
Right. Right.
Now, there are some things that you do in the bedroom that's probably not godly. Don't do those.
Yeah.
But there's a compromise there between you and your spouse of what is right and wrong. You need to do research and find that out for yourself. I'm not going into detail on those.
Right. And,
I will say this. Okay. I'm sorry. If you are a porn addict, if you are someone who looks at porn all the time, then that is not real. That is not how it's supposed to be.
Right.
I'm sorry, that is not what it is.
Right.
Now, getting with your wife and being intimate, that's real.
I was just going to add that, marriage is a picture of the intimacy we're called to with Christ. I mean, at one point, there's going to be the marriage supper of the Lamb. The body of Christ is also called the bride of Christ. Yeah. And so marriage, the intimacy between us, is a picture of the intimacy we're to have between ourselves and God.
Yeah.
And so relationships are meant to be intimate. They're not just, we're not just business partners here.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right. It's not a business contract.
Yeah.
It's a marriage covenant.
Right.
Which means we are tied together for life.
Right.
And for those of you that have been divorced, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you had to go through all of that.
Yeah.
But if you do get married again, don't blame the new guy.
Or the new lady. For your problems.
Right. For what happened in the last marriage.
Right. It's important to get the, healing that you need going forward.
I think we've touched on quite a bit today.
I think we have.
Leave a comment, subscribe, and put things in our comments, questions, anything. We'll try to, give you resources. I mean, if you comment and
or if you have something great to add, please do.
Please. We're still learning. We are still learning. We're not got it all figured out, but I will say
not at all.
that, a good marriage is Jesus, communication, and lots of sex.
Okay. That book ends it, doesn't it? That's what you started with, so that's a good place to end.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, great.
All right, guys, y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day, and God bless you. We'll be praying for you. Leave some comments, ask us some questions, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Don't forget to like this video, and please subscribe to our channel. Drop your comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you prefer audio podcasts, please follow us on your favorite streaming platform.